Hi and Assalamualaikum. Today, our team will present composting of protein waste using effective microorganism by anaerobic process. This is our team for today. We have Afi Afzal bin Abi Sofi. Next, we have Abdul Muiz Fahmi bin Abdul Rahman. Next, Ahmad Adik Fidaus bin Ahmad Nazri. And our beloved supervisor, Dr. Nur Farah Atika binti Ahmad.
For the intro of our composting of protein waste is all waste produced by human and any activity that are typically solid and are thrown as unnecessary or unwanted are collectively referred to as solid waste. Monica garbage, additional waste, and hazardous waste are three broad types are taken into consideration. Composting is the biological decomposition of biodegradable solid waste under controlled, primarily aerobic condition into a state that is stable enough for hassle-free handling and storage and mature enough for safe application in agriculture. And for the plural statement is firstly the library of solid waste which is too high, and the second organic waste is allowed to decompose anaerobically in landfill that release methane gas. Methane gas is known as contributed to global warming and a solution to human health. And for the objective, we have three objectives. Firstly, to examine the effectiveness of the process of an anaerobic process. Second, to compare the nutritional content to different types of protein waste. And third, to survey the characteristics of okra plant with differentiated protein waste. And for the scope of study, the protein waste will be taken in Pagu Jaya. The compost will be tested at College Kediaman UTHM Pagu. And the effective organisms such as fungi, bacteria, and entomyces will be used as an agent of composting, and it will be held for 2 months and 2 containers. And for the research significance, first, to avoid methane emission from the landfill by diverting the municipal solid waste to a composting plant. Second, compost is frequently referred to as a soil conditioner since it will enhance the quality of practically any soils. And third, compost contains a variety of the fundamental nutrients plants need for wholesome growth in addition adding nutrients to the soil. And for the expected result, firstly, fertilizer for plant and burning material can be produced. The compost increase soil fertility in horticulture, urban agriculture, gardening, landscaping, and organic farming, reducing reliance on synthetic chemical fertilizer.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Now I will explain about chapter 2, waste overview. Waste is divided into three parts. Firstly is solid, such as is municipal waste, industrial waste, and hazardous waste. The second one is liquid. The example is sanitary service, industrial service, storm service, and lastly is meat service. For the last one is gas. The example is carbon dioxide, methane fluorocarbon, carbon monoxide, oxides of nitrogen, and the lastly is oxides of sulfur. For the next slide is solid waste. Solid waste is divided to three parts. First part is municipal waste. The example is food waste. Food waste decompose rapidly in warm water. The second is rubbish. The example is combustible and non-combustible waste include materials like paper, cardboard, plastic and construction waste. The last one is ashes and residues. The example is ashes and residues are materials from burning combustible waste. The second part is industrial waste. Industrial waste include trash, ashes, demolition, construction, special and hazardous materials. The last one is hazardous waste. The example is ignitability. Waste can ignite, have low flash points, or cause fires. The second one is corrosivity. The example is corrosive waste like battery acids can corrode metal containers. The last one is reactivity. The example is reactive waste unstable, flammable, and can release poison. Now I will present about liquid waste. Firstly is sanitary waste. Such as sanitary waste is human waste and wastewater from homes and neighborhoods, consisting of 99.9% water and 0.1% impurities. The second one is industrial service. such as manufacturing facilities produce industrial service through various processes, including medicines, paper, textiles, chemicals, oil and gas, containing significant chemical. Third is storm sewage, such as storm sewage surface runoff from the storm contains liquids, organic debris, and other substances that must be filtered by treatment plants. The last one is mid-sewage. The such as is mid-sewage combines storm, sanitary, industrial, and overflows. Okay, for the next slide is gas waste. Firstly is water pollution. The example is untreated liquid waste contains harmful materials dumping into water bodies. The second one is air pollution, such as industrials release air pollution causing lung and breathing disorders. The third one is global warming, such as caused by companies spewing greenhouse gas into the atmosphere. The last one is soil pollution. The example is this leads to the demise of soil dwelling microorganisms as well as plant life. Agriculture yields suffer a service loss as a result. Now I will explain about food waste. The first one is food processing industries produce waste products, including solid waste, which lower economic values than disposing cost partially considered valuable byproduct. The second one is product and production methods significantly impact waste. Composition in food processing facilities. Waste variation in sugar, starch, fat, protein content, and seasonal fluctuation. Now, I will explain about composting overview. Firstly is compost a natural fertilizer derived from regulated biological decomposition of organic matter. Improve soil properties by enhancing aggregate stability and structure. The second one is compost with low physical similarities is valuable soil supplement, improving chemical, physical, biological properties. The last one is anaerobic and aerobic composting involve addition, nutrients, moisture, pH, temperature, and the time. Okay, for the next slide is anaerobic composting. The example is anaerobic composting requires less work and requires less turning, but its lower metabolism causes a worse smell and longer completion time. It increases humus content, monitors moisture content, and add carbon-based material in the spice mix. The second one is anaerobic pies have black, slimy feeling due to low nitrogen requirements and high energy. Aerobic pies require frequent nitrogen replacement to reduce erosion. Fertilizer is divided to parts. First part is organic fertilizer. The example is organic fertilizer improves plant health by balancing nutrients, modifies soil characteristic, and promoting beneficial microorganisms and earthworms. It also combats parasites and disease. Second part is chemical fertilizer. Chemical fertilizer like NPK impact plant development quickly, cost effectively, and contain high nutrients content, but easily lose nutrients. Next, factor affecting the composting. Firstly is moisture. The example is composting mixtures should have initial moisture levels of 60 to 65%, which a water contents of 55% for microbes to absorb nutrients. The second one is temperature. The example is temperature indicates biological activity. Thermophilic temperatures above 50 degrees are crucial. The last one is pH level. The example is microbial activity in composting requires neutral to slightly alkaline pH range, which initial pH drops due to acid forming bacteria breaking down complex materials. The last one is benefits of composting. First is enhance soil bark density, porosity, and structure to improve the plant root environment. Second is increase the permeability and moisture infiltration of heavy soils, increasing drainage and lowering runoff and erosion. Third is increase the light soil's ability to store moisture, preventing water loss and nutrient leaching. Fourth is enhance and maintain soil pH. The last one is compost helps sandy soils retain water and enhance clay soil drainage.
And now I will introduce you about methodology. The methodology we use is using an anaerobic process. It will take about 2 months and it will be tested using a reagent to determine specific characteristics. It will be analyzed at the Environmental Laboratory Diploma Study Center. And this is our final year project flowchart. For the correct information, we use books and article journals. The books is used for reliable information on solid waste, on composting, and give the study background of information. And for the article journal, it is used as crucial and helpful to collect yearly journal on solid waste and composting. And it offers suggestion and viewpoint on how to approach the composting project. And for the material preparation, we have three. It is protein waste, plastic bag, and control space. For the protein waste, we get it is from Pasar Tani Pagu Jaya. And for the control space, we use is College Kedai Pagu. And for the plastic bag, is to prevent the presence of the outside oxygen during the composting process. There are three laboratory analyses. The firstly is pH test, second ionic nitrogen, and the third and lastly temperature test. So this is our procedure of composting. Firstly, we weigh the material based on ratio. Second, the food waste was added to the container. Third, we put the brown sugar to the container. Fourth, we put a bottle of Yakult to the container. Five, we cover the container with the plastic bag. Six, we cover the lid tightly. Seven, we stir the compost every week.
Next, for result and discussion, after 1 month of anaerobic process, the fish fertilizer and chicken fertilizer were tested based on color, pH, temperature, and nitrogen. Table 1 shows the properties for both fish and chicken fertilizer. As we can see, the pH value of fish fertilizer is closer to 7.0 compared to chicken fertilizer, which can be concluded that chicken fertilizer is more acidic than fish fertilizer. Okra plant prefer neutral pH soil and soil pH is outside this range. It may affect the plant's ability to absorb nutrients efficiently and can impact its overall growth and productivity. The temperature for fish fertilizer is 55 Celsius and chicken fertilizer is 47 Celsius. Okra plants thrive in warm climates and are sensitive to frost and cold temperature. Temperature below 10 Celsius can negatively impact the growth and development of okra plant. In terms of ammonia nitrogen content, there is significant difference between fish and chicken fertilizer. Fish fertilizer has 120 mgl, whereas chicken fertilizer only produce 90 mg per F of ammonia nitrogen. As mentioned earlier, the ammonia nitrogen content is important for fertilizer. The optimum content will help in plant growth. From these properties, it is expected for fish fertilizer to boost okra plant growth more than chicken fertilizer. Furthermore, in order to compare the effectiveness of chicken and fish as fertilizer, the growth of okra plant has been conducted by using 10 okra plant, 5 for each fertilizer. Table at the left, as we can see, is fish fertilizer, and at the right is chicken fertilizer. Figure above shows the plant 5 comparison of okra plant growth. By using fish fertilizer and chicken fertilizer, the average height of okra plant before experiment is 40.75 cm. The average growth plan for fish fertilizer is 4.63%, whereas for chicken fertilizer is 2.51%. The significant difference of ammonia nitrogen content does make a difference in growth. In conclusion, this study has succeeded in achieving our goals for successful final year project, including to examine the effectiveness of the process of anaerobic process, Next, to compare the nutrient content of different type of protein waste. After that, to survey the characteristic of okra plant with different protein waste. Throughout the development process, group members face various challenges. An example problem is since final year project have a set time constraint, composting is a natural process that takes time. Next, there are numerous factors that can influence the result of composting include temperature, moisture, and carbon nitrogen ratio, and then frequency of turning. Next, require particular tools, supplies, and resources. Finally, they might draw pests like flies, dogs, and rats. My suggestion for improvement is begin by educating yourself and your community about the benefits and method of composting. Next, to ensure the best condition for decomposition, regularly maintain and monitor the composting process. Next, start by doing an extensive study about composting technique, best practice, and the particular objective you wish to accomplish you with your project. After that, maintain accurate records, truly document your project, and clearly and persuasively communicate your finding. After that, keep track and record the composting process, including important variables like pH, moisture, and temperature. Lastly, examine and note any changes to the compost pile on a regular basis.